there everyone, welcome back to James Redmond TV and welcome to another Redmond Roundup, the show where we give you all your latest news and updates on LFC or football related people. Be sure to keep smashing the likes and subscribing if you haven't already. Thank you for all the support on the show and I hope that you enjoy today's video. If you do, then smash go ahead, I'm speaking about Jews now. Shout out to all the Jews watching. If you do, then smash a like and subscribe and let's get into today's Redmond Roundup. The first thing I want to talk about, I'm not sure what the title of the video is, but this is probably the most breaking news that you're going to get all video. The Man United game has been rescheduled for next Thursday, the 13th of May, and I believe kickoff is at 7:15. Or I don't even know, actually, it might be earlier than that. Really, I should have my head more clues up there. But it's on Thursday, and that's kind of banter because Premier League are just taking the piss out of us. Just like, yeah, you're going to get used to Thursday, so we might as well just start playing you them now. Absolute bollocks, mate. Cannot be bothered with the Europa League or Thursday night football in any way, shape or form. We might even be in the Europa Conference League, let alone Europa League. But it is what it is, you know what I mean? I mean, actually, there's a video that I want to do talking about how good or bad the Europa League actually is and all the positives we can take out of it. Because there is actually positives that you can take going into the Europa League, believe it or not. Don't get me wrong, they don't outweigh the positives of going in the Champions League, but still, there's still a few things. And again, I'll talk about that in a different video. But what I want to talk about today is, well, the first off, the United game. That's something to talk about. That's got to be something to talk about based on the fact when you look at Manchester United, they've now got, unless it gets rescheduled and another game gets changed for them, they've got 4 games in 7 days. Or it's 3 games in 7 days or something like that. Either way, that is an insane amount of football. And let's be honest with ourselves, the league isn't really the top of their priorities right now. It's the Europa League. And let me tell you, well, actually, you can actually say it's one of 2 things really, can't you? Because the Europa League, they're done against Roma. Wait, how have they got that many games? Is it Premier League games? Well, to be fair, they're all not really that meaningful, so I'm not really going to look too much into it. Yes, they're going to need to rotate, and yes, that could maybe have some sort of benefit to us, but they're out the FA Cup. They're in the Europa League, which they're 6-2 up, and if they win that, they're going to go through to the final, which is at the end of the season. And then they've got league games. So they're already getting top 4. That's pretty much guaranteed. And they're most likely going to get second place. They're going to get to the Europa League final. So really, none of them games matter too much. If they want to beat us, they just want to beat us off the merit that they're Man United and we're Liverpool, which is absolutely fine. But I thought I was going to be able to find a reason to think, do you know what, we could beat them because they're tired. And again, that could be a possible factor. But I don't think it's going to be as big of a factor as a lot of people are going to probably make out. So that's the news there. Let me know what you think. Do you think maybe with the fact they've got loads of games close together, that means it could give us some sort of advantage to get 3 points? Because bear in mind, it's a lot more important to us than to them. So in a debate, besides the Europa League final, that's probably their biggest remaining game. And they're only going to want to win that game, literally for banter and to make us more sad. So I don't know what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, obviously, I talk about a load of Liverpool news, but there's another big piece of breaking news that came out over the week. And last week, it was Jose Mourinho was sacked. Throughout the week, Jose Mourinho's just been posting his CV out on Instagram. He was being posting memories, like, on this day, all of that bollocks. Anyway, and now he's at Rome. Now he's the coach. Is he the coach? The head coach, I believe it was titled. But he's the manager of Rome. And he's going to be able to use things. When he loses his first 10 games the next season, he's going to be able to use the quote, well, guess what, mate? Rome wasn't built in a day. Mourinho knows it. Jose Mourinho is the Conor McGregor of football managers. And let me tell you why. When he's not there, when he's not in his job, when he's not turning up to work, he's still very much relevant. People don't just forget about Jose Mourinho. Listen, that was the best time to sack a manager like Jose Mourinho, someone who, in a normal time where there isn't a Super League, he would eat the headlines of every single newspaper for Saturday, Sunday and all throughout the week until he probably gets a new job. He even just signed a thing with TalkSport, I believe he was working with them. Not no more, motherfuckers, because I'll tell you now, in the absence, Jose Mourinho is still relevant. He's like Conor McGregor in loads of aspects. When I think about it, they're both kind of cheeky as well. They're both different to everyone else. You could debate maybe they're both past it and they don't both believe it, but that's, another thing for another day. But do I think this is a good thing? And I want to know in the comments down below whether you think it's a good thing. But I think for Jose Mourinho, Listen, is the expectation too high? It's not really. Rome, they're not supposed to be competing in Champions League year in, year out. It's going to take a few more seasons to get them back to that level when they had like a Mo Salah or like an Alisson in goal, when their team was looking really, really strong. That's when they were supposed to be competing for Champions League. But now, because it's deteriorated, the expectations aren't quite the same. And I think that's good for Jose Mourinho. Also, style of football. Italy, they've got a lot more of a defensive style of football. Mourinho tried to come back to England, implement the style of football that won him titles in 2005 with Chelsea. Granted, he won the league in 2014 as well. Oh no, 2015 with Chelsea. But then when he went to Man United and then when he went to Spurs, it kind of got a little bit outdated. And this is why I think at Rome, where he can build his own team, he's most likely going to get more time there unless it goes horribly, horribly wrong. And he's probably going to be backed. Also, the players are going to look at Jose Mourinho like he's the dog's bollocks. They're not going to look at him like the way we maybe do in the Premier League and say, oh, he's shit because he's done this, this and this. They don't watch him week in, week out, so they won't have that same mindset. But this is an interesting one that I'm going to keep an eye out on. And it'll be, if he can win a trophy with Rome, or why do we keep calling them Rome, then that'll just be pretty insane, wouldn't it? And, it's hard being a Tottenham fan as it is, but can you imagine if you were the only club Jose Mourinho couldn't win a trophy with? Bit of a difficult one, isn't it? And you sacked him before the final. I don't know, mate. To this minute, I've questioned that decision from Levy and Tottenham massively, because I just think to myself, like, how can you sack a manager who literally got you to a final 4 days before the final? And then you find out the reasons behind it, and it was for the fact that he was outside the top 7, and if he was outside the top 7, they wouldn't have had to pay him as much money. Like, listen, I'm not down with it. If I was a Tottenham fan, I'd be furious, mate. Absolutely fucking fuming. So the next thing that I would like to talk about in this video is Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Now, this is a player that massively divides a lot of opinion within the fan base. I feel, we all respect Oxlade-Chamberlain in some way for the part that he had to play in 17-18, and we respect the fact that he's always bounced back from injuries. He's always come back and tried his best at the very, very least. They're things you can't take away from Oxlade-Chamberlain. Another thing, I am sure the influence he is in the dressing room is massive. You've got to bear in mind, Arsenal over the past few years have been a banter club, but Arsenal is still, in a young footballer's eye, still a very well-respected club. When you see, players coming from abroad, coming into the Premier League, if you're a player that's played for Arsenal for years, you're going to be respected. Bear in mind, he's won multiple FA Cups. He's had so much experience from such a young age. He is nothing but a good influence in the dressing room, so you've got to give him that as well. But is Oxlade-Chamberlain going to really get any better? This is where I think the fan base is split on it. And I think if you're going to ask me, I sell Oxlade-Chamberlain. And there's news coming out that he's linked with Borussia Dortmund. We're going to talk about whether that would be a good fit for him. But would it be a good decision for Liverpool to let him go to Dortmund? I think it would. I think that would be, even if it's not Dortmund, even if it's a West Ham, I don't mind. It's just, we're paying 140 grand there and thereabouts for Oxlade-Chamberlain, who, yes, let's be fair, even if he is going to play, and let's say hypothetically he plays like Oxlade-Chamberlain in 17-18, we still can't be too trustworthy on whether he's actually going to be there week in, week out. How do we not know we're going to miss him for 2 months or 3 months of that season? Bear in mind, when we last lost him to a serious injury, when he was playing in 17-18, he got injured in a quarter-final. A big, massive game that we needed him for the remainder of that competition. In fact, I'm not saying we would have won the Champions League final against Madrid that year, but I'm sure if we had an Oxlade-Chamberlain, he would have been another player to give us just a little bit of attacking impetus in that game when Salah went off the pitch. So you've got to actually think about these things when it comes to a player. Yes, he's boss, and yes, we may love him, and yes, he had a good time, but mate, he's not going to be there week in, week out. And I want to present the question, does he get any better? Again, got a gorgeous missus, got a great personality. I'm sure his life is boss, and Oxlade-Chamberlain deserves a boss life. Deserves a boss wife, a boss life, and all of that business. But does he deserve a contract on 140 grand a week at Liverpool Football Club? If you ask me, I say no. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. And just before I move on to the next transfer news, would he fit at Borussia Dortmund? Well, I don't think he'd be a starter. I think he'd probably have a similar role there than what he was here. That being said, you see Emre Can playing in the defence in Dortmund, so how do I know how they're going to work things? I wouldn't be playing Emre Can in a back four, so I wouldn't know how they're going to think about playing Oxlade Chamberlain. When you look at their midfield right now, they've got a good few young players there as an option, of course. Jude Bellingham is one that springs to mind. They've also got a few other players. There's one, I think he's Spanish. Oh, what's his name? He's a quality young player. They've even got another player that I can't think of the name of. He's like the youngest player to play in the Champions League. They've got a good few young players that are in the attack and also in the midfield. The two places that Oxlade Chamberlain can occupy. He's not going to go there and play the right wing-back role, I'm assuming. One, for the fact that Dortmund don't play a wing-back, and also for the fact that I don't even know that Germany know what a wing-back is. That being said, I don't know if it's the best move. I've always thought of like a West Ham as maybe the best type of a move for Oxlade Chamberlain, but does someone in the Premier League take the risk of going for him, bearing in mind he hasn't been reliable for the most part of the past 3 seasons, let's be real. Let me know what you think in the comments down below though, people. The next thing I want to talk about is Firmino to Atletico Madrid. Now, this is a rumour that's been circulating for the past few months now, but something that's resurfaced over the past few days on Twitter. And I think to myself, when you think about Firmino and fitting him in with Atletico Madrid, in my opinion, I want to keep Firmino. I'd like him to stay at the club. And if he's not going to start, which I don't think he should, then at least have him as an option. And if you are going to start him, put him in the number 10. But let's say if he is to leave to Atletico Madrid, I think that's a good move. Let me tell you why. If you look at how Atletico play, they like to play defensive. They like to make sure they have the most men behind the ball possible. Who's one of the most defensive strikers in Europe? It's friggin' Bobby Firmino. Yes, he can't quite get the same goals, but let's say if you have a Bobby and a Luis Suarez, first off, the link-up play that you're going to have there is insane, hence why I think Liverpool should try and maybe go for Luis Suarez. But not only that, Firmino's going to add the defensive side of things that Luis Suarez particularly doesn't. And let's be real, it's likely that someone like a João Felix is going to go soon. So I think not for the young side of things, the youth side of things, but for more experience. And also for the fact I think he'd link up well with other players there. Firmino to Atletico Madrid, style of play, that'd be a good move for him, for the club. He'd get game time there for sure. So who knows, let's see how this materialises. But let me ask you, because I know, again, like Oxlade Chamberlain, Firmino kind of divides the fan base. Would you rather keep Firmino and start him? Or would you keep Firmino and have him in the squad? Or, last option out of the 3, would you sell him? Let me know in the comments down below. And actually, how much for? How much does Firmino actually go for in this market? A few years ago, 2 years ago, you're probably thinking 50, 60, could have even pushed to 70 million, especially after the 17, 18 season. No, 18, 19. Yeah, after the 18, 19, you could have bagged 50, 60 for Firmino easily. But how much do you get for him now? And that will have a factor. So it'll be interesting to see. And then this is the last thing that I'd like to talk about on this video is pretty much David Alaba. So David Alaba is someone that I've been talking about for a good while now on this channel. I haven't talked about him for a while, but with the first few videos, the first few Redmond roundups that I ever did, I always said I would love a David Alaba at Liverpool. I think that would be a perfect fit based on what we need and also what he has to offer in terms of the versatility. The only thing that kind of made me go, is the fact his wages were a bit too much. Bear in mind, he's 29, turning 30 very soon. And it was just one of them things. But when it comes to bringing in winners, and we need winners, if you want to stay winning, and at the time we won the Premier League, if you want to stay on top and stay winning, you need to go ahead and get more winners. That's why I loved the Thiago transfer. It's why I loved the James Milner transfer a few years ago. It's why I would have loved David Alaba. He's reliable, he's versatile. I like them type of players. That being said, when I saw how much money he wanted, that was a different story. I understand you have to make sure you don't do what an Arsenal have done in the past or a Man United. You pay overboard on wages and then it fucks the structure. You get into debt. FSG, you've got to give credit to them at least for this. They've done a good job in that aspect for not trying to get the club into a sinking ship. However, I found out today, it's breaking news, Liverpool actually offered Alaba more money than Real Madrid, but because David Alaba has dreams of playing for Real Madrid ever since he was younger, he opted to go to Spain. I think, first off, fair play to David Alaba for all of that, because there's not many players nowadays who I think go purely for the ambition and purely for the dream. I think they choose it based on money. I think there's a lot of players who will. However, when you look at it in this perspective, would you rather live in Liverpool or would you rather live in Spain? You know what I mean? Like in Madrid, the capital of the fucking thing. So, I don't know. Maybe that could have had a part to play in it. But respect to Alaba for going there. It was his dream from when he was younger. I'm happy we didn't end up paying them wages because that was being extortionate. But I'll tell you the good thing that I'm going to take out of this news, if this is true, and the sources that I'm seeing it from is making it look very likely. This means FSG are most likely going to spend in the summer. If they were going to pay more, and Alaba is on ridiculous money right now at Real, well, when he joins Real Madrid, his contract is insane. So if we were willing to pay more than what they have offered, surely that, and I know he was going to be free, but then wages were insane, so it would have fucked us over a longer period of time. So imagine this. Imagine if we actually went and bought Alaba, paid all the wages. He probably would have been the highest paid at the club if we paid all these wages. Imagine the ambition that would have shown. Very interesting to see how Liverpool, and FSG more importantly, back Jurgen Klopp and back the manager and back the team, man, because this team needs reinforcements. You can't always rely on older dogs to do new tricks and stuff like that, and the game is always evolving. So, interesting when I saw this, and I want to know what you think in the comments down below. But people, that has been today's Redmond Roundup again for the second time. It was second time. It was so nice I had to do it twice and all of that other business. But if you did enjoy, smash a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I've been ending these on the Irish accent, so I'm going to end this one with an Australian accent. I hope you have a marvellous day, and I will see you all later, peeps. Peace out, yeah?